Well, good evening. This is Nick Weig here with you. We're filtering out some bugs and some new features we're trying to add, so I apologize for kind of the changing images as I try and fix all this. Um, as you can see, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for several counties: Cerro Gordo, Franklin, Hancock, Hardin, and Wright until 6:15 this evening. As we take a look at the radar image, you can see we do also have this large severe thunderstorm watch for most of the northern third of Iowa, basically areas along and north of Highway 20. This runs for just under 4 more hours, so 9 o'clock. This is not a very long watch that's been issued. We have this one cell that has a history of producing damaging winds as well as large hail. Hail up to 1.5 inches was reported just south of Kanawha at 170th and Jackson. That was in Wright County. That was ping pong ball size. We've also had a report of 50-mile-an-hour wind gust near Clarion. That's below severe threshold, but a 70-mile-an-hour wind gust near Kanawha, 71-mile-an-hour wind gust there in Wright County. This was just before 5:20, so about 45 minutes ago. The cell does seem to be losing some of its strength as it's moving to the southeast. It really does appear, you see that sharp cutoff of this watch along Highway 20. It really does appear storms are really not going to be able to keep their act together south of this watch area, mainly staying in the northern third of Iowa, as we said. We do have some other non-severe thunderstorms that have also been falling apart the further they move off to the east. So this is something that we're going to continue to monitor. But the main modes of severe weather tonight are going to be strong winds and large hail. We did see some pretty interesting returns on the radar. We see it here near Latimer, kind of where the Boeing segment is. You can see that there's some loose areas of rotation. The signature was a little stronger about a half hour ago. Tornado can't be ruled out, but it is not the primary threat tonight. The bigger threat is large hail and strong damaging winds, and that threat at this time appears to be subsiding a bit. However, I do want to stress that that severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 6:15, so about another 5 minutes. We're going to continue to see if they continue this watch. This was listed as considerable 70-mile-an-hour wind gust rather than just 60 miles an hour. The last update came in about 20 minutes ago that it was near Clear Lake State Park, moving to the east at 30 miles an hour. So pretty slow moving storm for this type. We did, as mentioned, get that report of 58-mile-an-hour wind gusts near Clarion. Hail damage was expected. No reports on any actual damage as of yet. Just those confirmed reports of ping pong sized hail just north of Clarion was the report that we received. Again, severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect until 9 o'clock tonight, or actually, excuse me, 10 o'clock tonight, I should say. 10 o'clock tonight. That will continue. We're going to see if there's going to be any more development. The models did a really good job today of picking up on this development late afternoon, early evening in northern Iowa, and really showing that it's going to be contained into northern Iowa tonight, particularly northeast Iowa, as the system continues to move. There's a stalled out boundary up there, and that's where these storms are firing up. So we don't anticipate a lot of north-south development or movement because, frankly, the temperatures we saw today here in the Cedar Rapids metro area pretty large, and we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. You see that popping up right now, the yellow and black flashing icon. This is a rather large one as well. This is going to run for quite a while, 7:15 p.m. This is a regular severe thunderstorm warning, not a considerable like what we saw before. 1-inch diameter hail could fall from this, and winds could gust upwards and in excess of 60 miles per hour. This is for northern Hardin, southeastern Wright, Franklin County, northwestern Grundy, Butler County, and northeastern Hamilton County. The storm is moving to the east at 35 miles per hour. The severe thunderstorm, the primary area of concern is near Rockwell to near Geneva to Williams in northern Iowa. Now, this is all radar indicated. It's been a good 20-30 minutes since we've had any severe reports from this cell, but you can see the areas of concern that they're looking at right now as the sweep comes through. We do have Hampton up here and the Sheffield area up here, Rockwell. So basically, they're concerned about this entire line, this Boeing segment. Even though the returns aren't necessarily strong in the middle here, that is the concern for the strong winds as this moves off to the south and east. We're still seeing these pockets of just loose rotation in the Hampton area. If anybody is watching in that area, feel free to let us know what you're seeing and share any information you can. Also, if anybody has any questions about tonight's severe weather threat and what to expect, feel free to add those to the chat. We'd love to answer those for you. So we're seeing these pockets of possible rotation and certainly some strong wind gusts in there. We're going to put an inspector on this, and we can see radars indicating winds upwards of 80 to 90 miles an hour aloft. That does not mean it's translating to the ground, but certainly enough on the radar to suggest that there could be significant winds in these storms. Again, we are seeing rotation. Right now, it is not particularly strong. There's a potential for maybe a wall cloud on this cell between Sheffield and Hampton. Certainly could see a wall cloud, but people in that area obviously are out storm spotting right now. So any tornadoes that do develop, we would certainly hear about them almost instantaneously. But right now, the primary threat continues to be strong damaging winds as well as large hail. This storm does have a history of producing both. It has a history of producing 1.5 inch diameter hail earlier near the Clarion area, and also winds upwards of 71 miles per hour. Now, 1.5 inch hail, that's ping pong ball size. That's certainly something that can do considerable damage to property and vehicles and anyone caught outside. As you can see, again, as we mentioned, the storms are contained to northern Iowa. We expect that to continue. We don't expect a lot of development. And we also don't expect these storms to maintain intensity the further south they go. We do still have that watch all the way stretching back into western Iowa as well until 10 o'clock. I believe all until 10 o'clock. Yes, it is. And that is because there is a stalled boundary up here in northern Iowa, and that is where these storms are firing. It's basically the only boundary right now that is capable of breaking out all this energy in the atmosphere because of all of the heat and additional humidity that we've experienced in Iowa today. May or may not have been our first 90-degree day of the year, but if not, it's the first 90-degree day in a while, certainly for much of Iowa. So a very sultry, hot day here in Iowa, now giving way to these thunderstorms as we move into the evening hours. We do expect this warning to continue for another hour until 7:15. We are also monitoring these storms off further to the east. As the models were depicting earlier today, the further east they go, they tend to lose a lot of their energy. Now, will that be the case later tonight as conditions change after sunset? We don't know, but obviously they're going to keep an eye on it. They expect the severe weather threat right now to ease off around 10 o'clock tonight. But right now, this storm is expected to maintain severe limits through 7:15. And beyond that, as we get closer to the 8 o'clock hour, it's going to be moving into some more populated areas, particularly Waverly and Waterloo, Cedar Falls, and the rest of the Cedar Valley area here. As we see the sweep come through, you see that Boeing segment right here. Between Sheffield and Hampton is where we're seeing the strongest returns of wind right now. That is certainly an interesting development there. That is, I wouldn't say that's gate to gate, but there are some significantly strong winds in there, certainly. I mean, we're getting wind 130 miles per hour. Again, this is aloft. This is not happening on the ground, but certainly shows the potential for some significant wind damage in the warned area right now between Hampton and Chapin. Apologies if I'm saying that incorrectly. I try to keep my Iowa terms accurate. We're seeing some looser rotation down here. No real major gusts to see. So this could be more of a potential of course, heavy downpours and perhaps a hail core. Let's switch over to the hail and see what we're going to find here. And yeah, we're seeing a much more significant hail core on this side of this Boeing segment. So on the southern side of the bow, we're seeing a significant hail core that could produce hail up to 1 inch in diameter or more. Not a significant hail core on this one, but that's where we're seeing, again, we're seeing some significant velocities in here. If we switch the mode over to storm, right now that's 58 miles per hour. It's detecting aloft. If we switch over to the storm relative velocity, It's easing off a little bit. It was about 130 miles an hour before. Now we're seeing closer to 60 to 70 miles per hour as that scan is updating. That scan, by the way, the velocity scan is approximately 2 to 3 minutes old, and our radar reflectivity scan is actually in real time. So that is the most updated information, hopefully at most maybe a minute old. So that is what we're watching right now. Again, right now, the portion of the storm heading towards the Iowa Falls area, that seems to be the greater risk for large hail. So if you're in the Iowa Falls area, Bradford, Ackley, Owassa, Buckeye, you might want to try and get any sensitive items outside in, and you may also want to get your car underneath a shelter or garage if at all possible, because this seems to be the core of the hail threat tonight. Further to the north, this is where we're seeing more of a wind threat between Sheffield and Hampton and Hansel. If we zoom in, it has already passed through Chapin, and no other major metro or communities in the area right now. So that's the good news. If it does maintain intensity, Airedale would be next, but that is a little ways off right now. I'm going to try and put a tracker on this. If these winds are able to hold, oh, that is the wrong tool. Here we go. This is moving to the east at 35 miles per hour. Airedale is the only community that we're finding in that area right now, and it should be there in approximately 15 minutes. It's a community of about 69 people. So that's the good news, is that hopefully there's not a whole lot that this storm can hit in that area. And hopefully it will not maintain intensity as it moves, obviously, Waverly, much more densely populated, as well as Allison, Bristow, Dumont, and Clarksville, in the northern part of the county. Again, Iowa Falls, right now the main threat appears to be hail, large hail, as we're seeing a significant hail core on the southern portion of this storm. Here you see the velocity is much stronger up here north of Hampton. We're getting a new scan in right now on the reflectivity. We do not have one yet on the winds, but you do see here is an outflow boundary stretching south. This is likely the boundary that set off these thunderstorms, not setting off anything further to the south. And you can see the boundary here on reflectivity. And some minor development, but right now we don't expect storms to reach severe limits south of Highway 20. That seems to be the cutoff line. The model's picking up really good on that earlier today. We do have a new velocity scan. You can see very muddled up here near Hampton and Sheffield and Hansel, but some significant wind gusts likely in this area. Again, this is reaching 40 to 50. We've got some vague areas nearing 60 miles per hour, and that is a loft. That is not necessarily happening on the ground, but something to be aware of, obviously, as we had more significant wind returns coming from that just a short time ago. I just received a comment from Maria. I apologize. It's showing up in my chat as, I believe, Spanish. Maria, I'm translating this for you now, so I hope you understand what I'm saying. You were asking what's happening with hurricane activity. Why isn't a hurricane developing in the Atlantic Basin? Where are the tropical waves in the Atlantic Basin? Hurricane development. Well, Maria, fortunately, that's not something we worry about a lot here in Iowa. We don't get tropical systems here. I can tell you they're still forecasting a pretty significant hurricane season this year, something that we will be keeping a close watch on. The fact of the matter is none of the waves coming off of Western Africa have really produced much. I don't know if that has to do with a lot of the dust that's coming off or what, but when those tropical waves get closer to the United States, that's when we see insane growth in a short matter of time because water temperatures are so high in that area. So that's something we're going to continue to monitor. But right now, not much of a concern, but it's a long hurricane season as you hear my dog getting a little upset. We're going to go ahead and continue to watch this warning with you and see if anything continues develop off of it. And we will continue to watch the latest information as it comes in. And if you have any more questions, feel free to share them in the group. In the meantime, We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, but we will leave the radar up for you, and we'll bring you any updates once new information comes in. Well, good evening again, Facebook. Apologies for not being with you earlier. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning now just outside of the Cedar Rapids Metro. 60-mile-an-hour winds reported north of Vinton. This was in near Mount Auburn. A lot of tree litter being blown around at the time of maximum gust. This coming in from a train spotter about 10 minutes ago. So these storms have a history of producing strong winds. We also had 1-inch hail in Olwine, dime to quarter-sized hail covering the ground, and also branches down across the southern portion of Olwine. Likely no wind reports, so likely from the hail. We do have wind damage reported. Multiple homes damaged by downed tree limbs in Waterloo. And then in Cedar Falls, trees were downed onto power lines. Power is out in a portion of the community. Multiple reports of 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts in the Cedar Falls area, the Cedar Valley, greater Cedar Valley area. Let's see if we can fix something here. It's a little better. Apologies for the camera being a little washed out tonight. We're going to go ahead and press on here. So we've had a pretty, after a break in the thunderstorm warnings earlier tonight, we've had a pretty consistent run of warnings. Now actually stretching further to the south, which we were not expecting, to be honest. It really looked like the models indicating that these storms would stay along and north of Highway 20. They have not. Now at this later hours, things are cooling off. They're able to better tap into the moisture and the energy further to the south. And so we've got this sort of broken bow. I'm going to go ahead and loop this for you. A broken bow that's been stretching across the area. This is back when it was south of Mason City. And you can see returns were not very impressive. It bowed out, but there's been a lot of cycling and regeneration in the storm system. So that is certainly a big reason why this is doing what it's doing right now. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this. So we do still have a history within the last 15 minutes or so of severe winds being reported in this. The most recent report near Mount Auburn, which is north of Vinton in Benton County. I'm going to go ahead and let's take a look and see how serious this power outage situation is. Pulling up the map, we have quite a few. We have about half of Wright County still without power at this hour, 3,500 there without power. Waterloo area, 5,000 in Black Hawk County without power. We have a few hundred in Hancock, Franklin, and Grundy County, and we also have now hundreds without power in Benton County. So this is got a line, pretty backdated history now of producing significant wind damage leading to power outages. The greater Cedar Rapids metro area is next for this. We're going to go ahead and go back to the current radar scan here. We are now on, make sure we are on the Davenport radar, which we are. And we can see that taking a look at the scans here, there's not much really showing up on the radar in terms of velocities. Let's go ahead and check out high res. Yeah, not seeing a whole lot there. Obviously a little bit of broad rotation on the leading edge of this, not uncommon with these bowing segments. But again, pretty lengthy history now of 60 mile an hour to even 70 mile an hour gusts, which were reported further back in north central Iowa. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning for Benton, Buchanan, and Delaware until 9 o'clock. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning for Delaware and Dubuque until 9:15. And then we also have this severe thunderstorm warning for Benton and Lynn County in effect until 9 o'clock. Now, right now, these are just general severe thunderstorm warnings, warning for 60 mile an hour winds. Independence area still under a considerable severe thunderstorm warning. That's because winds there could reach as high as 70 miles an hour. As we see a new scan coming in now, this is just seconds old now. We see, again, more intensification between Strawberry Point and Dyersville, right over, I believe that's, right east of Greeley. And then we're watching this line from Vinton up to Quasqueton that has a history of producing 60 mile an hour winds. We're going to take a look now and see if we have any images coming in of these storm reports. See what we can find. Some pretty impressive video coming in. Some calling it a boob in the Humboldt area earlier this afternoon. Not seeing any immediate reports. There was a wall cloud in that area at the time. Let's take a look here and see if we have any updates from the Waterloo area. Not seeing anything at the moment. Just damage reports, not seeing any images coming in yet of any potential damage. Let's check Cedar Falls. We did have several power outages in that area as well. And just seeing the damage and storm reports, not seeing any photos coming in, but a significant power outage ongoing in the Cedar Falls area. So not a lot of damage images coming in. We're going to keep an eye out for those as this continues. We do apparently have a photo. Okay, this is from David Holtman in the Watkins area just about 5 minutes ago. You can see that large shelf cloud taking shape on the leading edge of these storms. Kind of trying to peer out my window to see if there's anything out there here on the northeast side of Marion. So far, nothing that we can really discern. To full disclosure, I'm in a basement, so it's kind of hard to see much of anything out there right now. But folks in Center Point, Urbana now getting the gist of it. Center Point now likely seeing a pretty potent shelf cloud outside their window right now. We're going to wait and see what the National Weather Service does with these warnings. They do remain in effect for quite some time, but I think they're going to have to make a decision sooner rather than later on whether or not to extend these, because these storms are gaining in strength, or rather gaining in velocity. They were moving at about 30 miles an hour earlier this afternoon. Now they're moving at about 40 miles per hour. So that's something that they're going to have to plan on. We could see extensions on these warnings, particularly in parts of the Cedar Rapids Metro, the Highway 13 corridor, which would include Central City, Coggin, and Ryan. They would be next for this. But again, we may not see the ultimate warning move as far south as we have seen, because appears that that portion of the storm is losing some intensity and the energy is shifting to the north, where conditions are a little bit better for this. Again, if you have any questions for us, feel free to share them in the chat. Don't forget to subscribe. We're really hoping to get our subscriber count up as we're trying to reach levels where we can begin being able to monetize some of this on YouTube and better provide services like this. This is basic operation compared to a lot of people online. We're just getting started, and we're really hoping to get our subscriber count up, which would help a lot. Of course, liking the video also helps. I honestly haven't looked to see what the severe weather situation is right now in other parts of the country. I'll take a quick peek at that, but right now, obviously, we're focusing in on Iowa for our area. We did get an update from the Storm Prediction Center. This came in about a half an hour ago. I believe they did extend, yes, they did extend the watch south to cover Benton, Lynn, and Jones County. They were added to this. And it looks like the outflow boundary has pushed a little further south than they anticipated, hence the storms. Right now, that is probably pushing into the Cedar Rapids area as we speak. But so far, we haven't seen that result in any strengthening on the southern edge of these storms. Cluster of thunderstorms, this is the Storm Prediction Center, saying a cluster of thunderstorms continues to produce mainly severe gusts while propagating along a baroclinic boundary. Along this boundary, lapse rates and effective bulk shear remain. This evening's weather balloon from the National Weather Service in the Quad Cities showed a deep, dry boundary layer in place extending up to 700 millibars. Such conditions favor the continuance of an organized severe gust threat, with the primary negating factor likely being nocturnal cooling. It's unclear how quickly nocturnal stabilization of the boundary layer will begin limiting severe gust potential, but at least a couple of severe gusts may occur as far east as northwestern Illinois. Now, so far, they've only added those 3 counties on the southern end, and we do see some evidence that this is not maintaining strength further to the south. But we saw that earlier this afternoon as well. So that boundary obviously having an effect on how far these storms are stretching to the south. So they did add the 3 counties, 2 of which are under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. And we will soon see what the National Weather Service does in terms of deciding whether or not to advance this warning. Now, this is about a 13-minute loop. So you can see the speed, you can see the storms to the south developing, but not really gaining any intensity. We'll be watching that as well. We've seen some weakening, honestly, in all the cells here, but we saw that earlier this evening as well. There was a point where there were no warnings along this line. And so we are waiting to see whether or not this will continue to regenerate, continue to cycle itself, or whether or not this is kind of the last gasp as we're getting into that nocturnal cooling period. Obviously, air quality hasn't been the greatest today. Don't know how much that really impacts this, but we have seen a lot of dust being blown around. It is not the greatest air out there as we're continuing to fight air quality issues because of the wildfires in Canada. And the winds have been bringing that down towards Iowa. We hope that that improves tonight and tomorrow, but it just keeps coming back, folks. So right now, we're going to continue to monitor these severe thunderstorm warnings that are really focused in now. If they've really pared down the watch to just this small area, because after these storms, at least the severe threat in the short term should subside. We're seeing some strengthening up here in southwestern Wisconsin. And that is obviously going to be watched. I believe this area is closer to the actual boundary that's set up, but we have this outflow that was generated earlier this evening that is moving to the south. And that is what is producing these storms further to the south than what we anticipated earlier. We're seeing a little bit of recycling here between Center Point and Urbana. The I-380 corridor getting the brunt of it right now between those 2 communities. This scan is about 30 seconds old. We're getting real-time updates from NexRad. They're able to dramatically increase the refresh rate of the radar scans in situations like this, and we're hopefully getting the absolute latest information that we can get. So right now we're waiting to see what the National Weather Service in the Quad Cities is going to do with these storms. It appears all the storms in Iowa, which are monitored by the National Weather Service in La Crosse, have all weakened, and the focus now is on the National Weather Service in the Quad Cities and what they will do from here. Now, they've issued all of the warnings that are in effect now have been issued by the National Weather Service in the Quad Cities, as this is the northwestern edge of their area. And we should learn very soon, as some of the strongest portions of these storms is beginning to make its way out of the warned area, particularly in going from southeastern Buchanan County into southwestern Delaware County and northeastern Lynn County. So we will wait to see what the National Weather Service does with that. Again, some damage reported in the Waterloo area tonight. We also have reports of tree damage and home damage as well, major power outages in the Cedar Falls area. We also have several thousand without power in the Waterloo area. And Wright County, I believe, about half of that county remains without power tonight. So some pretty significant wind damage from this Boeing line that has largely maintained its intensity over the last, boy, I'd say 3 to 4 hours at this point. And now we're seeing it kind of move into a more populated area. It's now crossing into Center Point. Central City is just off to the east. And down here we obviously have, and there's the new warning. Quad Cities is issuing, looks like they're going to consolidate into one large warning now, where they have these disjointed warnings. You see that flashing in the yellow and black right there. This is a severe thunderstorm warning, a general severe thunderstorm warning. So right now, it looks like the only real severe threat is the wind. It's forecasting hail below the severe threshold of 1 inch in diameter, but winds onto the lower end of severe at 60 miles per hour. This warning will remain in effect until 9:45 p.m. 9:45 p.m. The latest from the National Weather Service says that severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from Masonville to Pleasant Creek State Recreation Park, again moving to the east at 40 miles per hour. Trained weather spotters have reported those strong winds, and we have seen a history of that north of Vinton all the way back into central Iowa. This does include the greater Cedar Rapids metro area, the northern portion of the town, just barely, Hiawatha, Robbins, portions of Marion. In fact, my home is in this warning. On the very southern edge, Palo was already in a warning, but now Robbins, Hiawatha, portions of Cedar Rapids, and Marion, as well as Alburnett, now under a severe thunderstorm warning. We're still seeing, I'm just getting the alert on my phone, we're still seeing not much intensification south of Center Point. That may spare the majority of the metro area here in eastern Iowa. That would be the good news. And hopefully the winds will not be as strong as they have been, because once they crossed into a metro area in the Cedar Valley, Cedar Falls, Waterloo, we have major power outages, we have homes damaged by tree limbs, and that's obviously something that can repeat itself despite the reduced tree canopy here in Cedar Rapids because of the derecho 5 years ago. Again, the new severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for portions of western Buchanan, the southern 2/3 of Delaware, western Jones County, and northern Lynn County. This will be in effect for 1 hour until 9:45 p.m. Now, these storms are moving to the east at 40 miles per hour. I'm going to go ahead and put a tracker on this strongest portion right here, and we'll give it a good berth. We'll say 40 miles per hour. And we have Robinson shortly, Ryan in about 11 minutes, that's along Highway 13, Buck Creek in 22, Hopkinton in about a half hour, Sand Springs in 34, Worthington 39 minutes, as you can see, Cascade in 48 minutes, could be sooner, as that's, or excuse me, Central City is what I'm thinking of. Central City could be sooner, as that is south of this tracking cone, uh, because we can only do a point. We can't do it along a line. That's limitation of the software we have, unfortunately. But roughly in that strongest portion of the storm, about 7,400 people live in that area. In the greater Warned area, it's much, much more once you take into account the metro areas. We don't see strong returns on our velocity. We're not getting very good data. We're seeing some of it up here associated with the Dyersville cell, and that is in the Warned area. Let's go ahead and check out storm relative. And again, not seeing too much of concern in the upper levels of the atmosphere. No major wind gusts that we can find, which is good news. Again, I want to thank everybody who's been watching us. Feel free to, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions about what's happening tonight, feel free to share them in the chat. We'd be happy to answer them for you. Let's go ahead and take another look at this, because this seems, I'm gonna go ahead and do this manually. It just really seems like it's losing intensity, but as you can see here in the last few frames, we have new development right here. Excuse me, that's about to bear down on Coggin and Ryan along Highway 13. Excuse me, just north of Central City. Buck Creek, I imagine these are some very well-traveled campgrounds in this area, so people in those areas will need to seek shelter. Again, this is likely not a life-threatening situation. Obviously, you do need to take precautions when you're talking about wind that can take down trees, especially if you're just in a simple tent. A tent would not be an advisable place to be in any of these storms. Brady's Channel 5 asks, where is the storm? Well, this is eastern Iowa. This is eastern Iowa. We've had multiple 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts. Some of them, other reports have aged out, but we had power outages and wind damage, as well as large hail, all the way back from I-35 down into the Cedar Valley metro area, where thousands are without power right now. And now we're seeing a much more broken, more condensed bow line that's now moving just north of the Cedar Rapids metro area. Portions of Cedar Rapids, Robbins, and Marion are in the severe thunderstorm warning, but so far we're not seeing any real intensification on the southern edge of the storm, which is north of Center Point right now. We do see some, excuse me, we do see some intensification and new development west of Ryan and Coggin along Highway 13. This is something that we'll have to watch. This could be another moment when these storms kind of recycle on themselves. We're seeing that also that loose development northeast of Manchester, just north of Highway 20. We're seeing a little bit of strengthening on the northern edge of this storm. And this could just simply be interactions with that outflow boundary that has been trying to push these storms further to the south, but has failed to do so far. Again, these scans are coming in virtual real time. This is an old scan. There we go. This scan is just seconds old. In situations like this, especially when the storms are in a focused area, the Weather Service can do much more rapid scans in that area and produce scans in seconds or up to a minute. And that's better than the general 5 to 10 minute delay in the scans. In situations like this, where every second counts, they are able to really ramp up that scan rate, which in a situation like this is beyond ideal. I'm going to go back quick and check the Des Moines radar. We do have some new development up in northern Iowa. None of this is expected to be severe as far as I'm aware. We do expect the intensity of these storms to continue to decline as we move through the evening hours. The nocturnal cooling is likely going to inhibit further development. Here we see yet another new frame that just came in. And we see, oh, excuse me, that's the Des Moines radar. I apologize. So no, we do not see any weakening. In fact, we see some pretty strong intensification just west of Ryan. So that's going to be an area to watch. But this is new development. Not sure if there's really any strong winds associated with it. Could be some hail. Um, Brady's Channel 5 asking, will the storms impact Marion? Well, it depends. I don't. Just the northern third of Marion is under the severe thunderstorm warning. I don't expect any severe weather to impact the Marion area. We could see some showers and thunderstorms. I'm already hearing the thunder outside my window right now, waiting to see the flashes of lightning as well. But no, it appears that with the southern extent of this line kind of weakening, it does not appear that any severe weather is going to be impacting Marion. Right now, I'd say the places most under the gun would be Ryan and Caugan along Highway 13. Central City may get some strong storms later because it's focused on this area northeast of Center Point. But we're seeing new intensification in several areas, very disorganized, I should say, compared to a usual Boeing segment that produces strong winds. And that's why we've seen no new considerable severe thunderstorm warnings, but just general severe thunderstorm warnings, because the belief is that these storms are not capable of producing 70 to 80 mile an hour winds, rather closer to 60 miles an hour, which can still be damaging, but the threat is far less considerable. Again, these are up to the minute frames that we're getting from the National Weather Service in the Quad Cities. Occasionally, you may see the scan go through with the updated information. We do still have a warning on this cell traveling basically right along Highway 3. This is Luxembourg, Holy Cross, New Vienna on the southern edge. This warning remains in effect until 9:15, so about 20 minutes, and then we'll see what the Weather Service in the Quad Cities does with that as it moves further into Dubuque County before crossing into southern Wisconsin. Again, monitoring these new frames, we expect one shortly. Stand by. Okay, sorry about that. I am back with you. I'm going to go ahead and leave the map up so you can see the warnings that remain in effect. Let me switch over to the radar here. Again, we have this new severe thunderstorm warning until 9:45, I believe, 9:45. This includes western Buchanan, southern Delaware, western Jones, northern Lynn County, portions of the Marion and Cedar Rapids metro area, or excuse me, Marion and Cedar Rapids metro area, that's right, are in the severe thunderstorm warning, but right now we do not expect it to affect the metro areas. Can you see if storms are developing in western Nebraska and southeastern Wyoming? Some of my family live there. I believe we can. I don't believe there was any significant threat for severe weather out that way. Switch over to the national radar here. There are some thunderstorms developing with one warning in that is Campbell County in Wyoming, well north of Casper. There was a severe thunderstorm watch in effect further to the west. Things operate a little differently out there just because of the way the system is set up. So these are much slower moving storms. And they're not, especially in western Nebraska, they're not really moving. So a lot of these may lose their punch as we move further into the nighttime hours. So there are some thunderstorms out in that area that have produced some strong winds in Colorado. But again, no major severe weather threat to speak of that we're aware of. We're going to go ahead and switch back to the local radar here. And seeing a lot of weakening now. Take a look at this loop here. A lot of weakening here on the southern side, weakening pretty much all over the warned area. That's good news, but still could be some strong wind gusts as this storm system is collapsing on itself. So I believe the warning will probably stay in effect for a while, but I also would not be surprised to see it expire. Oh, excuse me, we're on the wrong radar. So take that back. We are seeing definitely some weakening on the southern edge. We're seeing some lack of organization, so it'll be a big question mark whether or not this warning will extend further in Dubuque County towards the Mississippi. Right now, it appears that this is really all falling apart, and this new area of development, if there's going to be any severe weather, is likely where it's going to be. We're seeing continued redevelopment here. I haven't checked to see exactly where the outflow boundary is, but that may be what's creating this new development as it's passed by Coggin. We'll go to the most recent scan. Ryan getting the brunt of it right now as it's heading off towards the Hopkinton, Delhi, and Worthington areas. Monticello should be clear of this, but they could see. And I can tell you the wind gusts have arrived in Marion. There is no rain to speak of anywhere near us. But obviously getting the outflow from these storms here in Marion, nothing severe, nothing damaging of any kind here in the metro area, but just some strong wind gusts out there right now as the outflow from those storms is coming through. Brady's Channel 5, thank you for the comment. We try to do this as often as we can. We're not always able to, but just trying to focus a little more in on our area. Which often gets lost, especially when there's so many more significant threats generally in the South and the Gulf Coast states nowadays, particularly now with the tornado season winding down and now moving into a summer wind threat pattern. This isn't an area that gets a lot of attention. And unfortunately, we know that that doesn't mean that there isn't a danger, because obviously we went through something significant 5 years ago now with the the Iowa derecho. I was in Marion when it hit, so that's why I keep thinking about Marion. We're going to continue to monitor this. Not getting any new information on damage. We're going to scan the feeds here real quick. A very low-level threat for severe weather, like what we've had tonight, has been posted for much of Nebraska, northwest Iowa, southern Minnesota. Again, this is a marginal risk. Doesn't appear to be anything significant or organized, but just something to watch as the dynamics kind of triggers thunderstorms, especially in the later afternoon hours. We do have more reports of tree damage covering roads in Waterloo, small to medium branches. That's coming in shortly, not too long ago, but happened about an hour and a half ago. Again, that was near Waterloo. Seeing several reports now coming in from that area. Again, let me see if I can get the power outage map up for you. And again, a lot of this information you can see for yourself. In fact, this one you can get at poweroutages.us. It's a great service. They have a lot of great features. We're not able to access all of them because it does require a subscription for more significant data. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. This again from poweroutages.us. Let's zoom in here on Iowa. You can see a major outage underway in Wright County. About half of that county population now without power, at about 3,500 out of over 7,000 in that area. We got about 250 out in Franklin County. We got about 745 in Hancock. Way to the back, we've got about a third of the population out in Osceola County. 467 without power in Grundy. That is, I believe, down significantly. Still 2,000 without power in Blackhawk County. That is down a lot from where it was an hour ago when these storms moved through. 1,000 out in Marshall County. And now we have 400 out in Benton County, just 33 out in Lynn. No major outages here yet. Further to the north, it looks like they've been spared the outages. So could see some outages. It really depends on really the power line interaction with the branches. Branches can come down on the lines, or they can just kind of pop into them, and that can disrupt the circuit enough to cause an outage. Fortunately, if there's no structural damage to the power system, it's very, very easy to reset and get back online. But that's obviously something power crews are dealing with tonight. So still several thousand without power in Iowa tonight, but we've seen that number come down significantly in the last hour, and that's good news, as much of the damage or the repairs appear to be more technical than physical in most areas. So not a major severe weather event tonight, but certainly causing some damage in some specific parts of the area. So here you see the new scan coming in, not seeing really anything in the way of intensification, if anything weakening. We saw this last development pulse up here in the last 15 minutes. I don't see it really getting much stronger as that nocturnal cooling continues. It's outrunning the outflow boundary that was triggering the storms further to the south. So it appears to have outrun all of that, and we should see these storms continue to weaken. I would not be surprised if we don't get any reports from this area, if they decide to discontinue the warnings and not extend them. Based on the movement, I could see this warning also expiring early, simply because the warned storms are weakening and moving out of the area. So I'm going to go ahead and get everything set up here and take a break. And if any new developments come in, we will let you know.